It's that time of the year again when students decide which universities to apply to. Now, there are 50,000 universities in the world, and I'm willing to bet that more than 10,000 of those have computer science programs. So we were thinking what can be done to actually make your life easy, and my team came up with an idea that we should come up with a tier list of universities to help you guys select which universities to apply to and which to keep to the side. Now, the way this is going to work is my team has identified a random list of 25 universities that I need to put in the tier list. And so I'll be taking these universities one by one, and I'll be explaining which university is an S tier, which is an A tier, B, C, all the way down to D. Now, keep in mind that this tier list isn't based just on rankings. So I'm looking at a whole set of criteria. I'm looking at academics, I'm looking at research, I'm looking at reputation, I'm looking at program options, I'm looking at employability, everything, right? And I'm going to put a bit of my own perspective or opinion to it as well, right? So let's begin now. Okay, so first up we have ASU, Arizona State University, based in the US. Very popular university among Indian students, very large student body. I think it has 60,000 students. Now, though this university is popular and though it has a variety of computer science programs, I don't think I can rank this higher than C tier, and let me explain why. So while ASU is a reputed university, I think it ranks in the top 200. It's way too large, right? So this means that any student who studies in ASU is actually going to be fighting for resources, whether it is lab resources, whether it is time from faculty, or even when it comes to help from the career services team. And so for all these reasons, I think ASU deserves to be put in tier C. So I'm going to go ahead and put that here, C tier, right? Now the next one is Georgia Tech. So again in the south of the United States, just like ASU, very strong engineering programs, actually has very good computer science programs as well, has a few niche programs in areas like social computing, visual computing, which I haven't seen much, to be honest, in other universities. And I think that in and of itself would push it to B tier. But given its reputation, given the kind of placements that students get, I think it does deserve to be in the A tier. In fact, I don't know if you guys know this. So Georgia Tech is actually ranked similar to Carnegie Mellon, but costs half as much, right? So I think it does deserve the A tier categorization. So let me go ahead and put it over there. So third, we have Imperial College London, another strong engineering university, but this time in the UK. Imperial College is ranked, I think, second overall this year in the QS rankings. So you might think that it should be put in the S tier, but I think we should go ahead and again put it in the A tier for the simple reason that if you take a look at the CS programs, what you'll quickly notice is that very few of the CS programs are research driven or in areas that are considered cutting edge to computer science. Instead, it tends to be more on the applied computing side of things. And there hasn't really been any major research breakthrough from Imperial College in the last 2 or 3 decades. So I'm going to go ahead and again put it in the A tier, same tier like Georgia Tech. Alright, so the third university that we have is IIT Bombay. So IIT Bombay is definitely the GOAT of CS programs when it comes to India. It's probably the best. I mean, if you were to look at the rankings purely, then IIT Delhi probably does better than IIT Bombay. But in employability rankings, IIT Bombay does rank higher. In fact, last year, I believe that 9 out of the first 10 rankers in JEE and 73 out of the first 100 rankers in JEE, again, chose IIT Bombay. So that's a testament to how good the university is. And therefore, I'm going to go ahead and again put it in A tier, the same tier as Imperial and Georgia Tech. So let's do that. All right, moving on. So then we have Monash, I think the first Australian university for the day. So Monash is a part of the group of 8 universities, the top tier research universities in Australia. But its ranking is lower than the University of New South Wales and the University of Melbourne. And I don't think I can put it in S tier or in A tier because Australia as a country is tiny. Its population is probably Mumbai plus Delhi combined, which means that you don't really have top tier jobs in the country. Also, if you take a look at the programs at Monash, what you will notice very quickly is they don't even have an on-campus Masters in Computer Science program. The closest they come to is a Masters in Data Science program, and that too costs 60 lakh rupees. What the heck, Monash? So I think it deserves B tier, nothing more than B tier. Alright, next we have MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology. this one's definitely going in S tier. I mean, there's no question about it. I don't think I need to explain myself. Top-notch faculty, top-notch research, great program. I think the only complaint I have when it comes to MIT is they have a Bachelor's of Computer Science program and they have a PhD program. I don't think they have a Master's in Computer Science program, but they do have a few interdisciplinary computer engineering programs. Though it's not quite the same as a CS program, I would still probably put it in the S tier just on the basis of the reputation, academics, as well as employability. Let's go ahead and put it over there. All right, so next we have Northeastern University, another popular university amongst Indian students, just like ASU. So Northeastern University is located in Boston. Actually, it's located very close to MIT and Harvard. This university is ranked lower than ASU, but I'm still going to put it in the B tier, not in the C tier. And there's only one reason for that. Northeastern is known for its co-op programs. So a co-op program, for those of you who don't know, is a program where a student completes some part of the coursework in university and rest of the coursework is completed through internships at companies. So I think that works very well for students who are ROI driven, who want job opportunities, and I think therefore it deserves to be in the B tier. There's another reason why I'm going to put it in the B tier actually. So for those of you all who know, getting into a master's or a PhD program for computer science is pretty difficult if you've not done your bachelor's in computer science. But Northeastern is one of those few universities that does have something called as an aligned program, which is specifically designed for those students who don't have an undergraduate CS background. And so I think it has a few features that other universities in this list do not have, which is why I think it needs to be placed in the B tier and not in the C tier. So let's do that. All right, next up we have NUS, National University of Singapore. I think it was ranked in the top 10 universities this year in QS, if I'm not mistaken. Great university. Singapore is a great location to do your bachelor's, your master's, or your PhD in. In fact, I don't know how many people know this, but the Singaporean government actually runs this scheme called the Ministry of Education Grant, which means that 80% of the students who apply and get through Singaporean universities actually have their tuition fees subsidized. So whatever the tuition fee is mentioned on the NUS website for any program, not just computer science, take that down a notch. All right, so take that down by 30 to 50%, and that's the actual fee that you will end up paying. Right. The only catch is if you avail this tuition fee waiver scheme of the Singaporean government, you would have to work in Singapore for 3 years after graduation. But I don't think that's a reason to probably punish the university. So again, because of its placements, because of the ROI, and because of its reputation, I believe I should be placing NUS in the S tier along with MIT. So let's do that. Okay. Next up, the team has chosen NYU, New York University. This is a difficult choice for me. I would have put it in the A tier, but I think I'm actually going to put it in the B tier. And I think this is a controversial take. I think many of you all would have expected me to put it in the A tier alongside other universities like Georgia Tech and Imperial. But hear me out. I'll explain why I'm putting it in the B tier. So NYU actually has two different universities. You have NYU Current and you have NYU Tandon, right? Now, NYU Tandon is actually the university that most of the Indian students apply to. It doesn't have the same amount of prestige that NYU Current has. So NYU Current I would definitely put in the A tier. But NYU Tandon, which is where most of the Indian students apply, is not at the same level. Its ranking is also lower, and I think its employment outcomes are similar to a Monash or a Northeastern, which is why I think it deserves to be in the same tier along with it. That's the B tier. Okay, next up we have Oxford University. So one of the Ivy level universities in the UK along with Cambridge. I was initially thinking of putting it in the A tier, but there are a few reasons why I want to put it in the S tier. So I think the first reason for this would be that Oxford is actually one of those universities where a lot of the fundamental research of computer science has taken place. In fact, a lot of the techniques that we use as computer science engineers, so many of you all must have heard of techniques like quicksort and bubble sort. These were actually invented by professors who teach at Oxford. So that's one reason. The other reason is that Oxford has a few very interesting programs that other universities don't have. So in the majority of universities, you will find either computer science programs, or you will find computer science programs which are interdisciplinary, either with business, or interdisciplinary either with other areas like engineering. But Oxford is one of those few universities where you have interdisciplinary programs with areas like economics and philosophy. So I think that's interesting. I think the reputation it has is same as the Ivy League or Stanford or an MIT. And you do have a lot of fundamental research in computer science and AI going on at Oxford, which is why it deserves to be in the STO. Next up, we have RMIT, the Royal Melbourne Institute of Technology, located out of Melbourne in Australia. Very popular university for Indian students to go to, very cost effective as well, but does not have a lot of fundamental research when it comes to computer science. Alright, and in fact, most of the programs that you take a look at, whether it's at the bachelor's, master's, or the PhD level, aren't even computer science programs. They're more of IT type of programs, information technology type of programs. Not that there's anything wrong with IT kind of programs, but I just think it's not the same as CS. You get into different sorts of jobs, and because we are ranking these universities for computer science, I don't think I can put it in the B tier. I think I'm going to take it down a notch, put it in the same tier as ASU. So that would probably be in the C tier. Alright, so next we have Stanford. Again, Stanford needs no introduction, needs no explanation. I think everyone knows that I'm going to place this in the S tier. But just for formality's sake, I'm going to explain why. Strong tech ecosystem, located in Silicon Valley, has legendary professors like Andrew Ng, and has invented some of the fundamental techniques and breakthroughs in computer science and in fields like AI. So Stanford definitely going into the S tiers 100%. Okay, so next up we have Trinity College Dublin, based out of Ireland. So Ireland is actually the second best place that you can go to study computer science after the United States. And I say that because a lot of the American companies that we hear about when it comes to employment, Apple, Google, Microsoft, all of these large companies actually have set up their European Union headquarters in Ireland. So a lot of the product development and research that happens for the EU market actually happens out of these offices in Ireland. And I think the students who study at universities like PCD or even UCD in Ireland actually have a placement advantage over students who study in, say, the UK or Germany when it comes to computer science. So I think it has that location advantage. I think the program is also pretty decent, which is why I'm going to put it in the B tier. I'm not putting it in the A tier. I'm not putting it along with Imperial College, with IIT Bombay, or with Georgia Tech, because it doesn't have that sort of brand reputation or that heft as yet. 5 years down the lane, who knows, things might change. I might put it in the A tier, but for now, it's going in the B tier along with Monash, Northeastern, and NYU. Then we have UT Dallas. So UT Dallas is a part of the University of Texas system. It is a public university, and therefore tuition fee is greatly subsidized. It is cheaper or more affordable than private universities in the United States or even in other countries. And you might be considering applying to this university this season. But I would suggest that you keep this as your backup university, because it has many of the problems that you have with ASU. The student-faculty ratio is out of whack. You don't have very good placements. Dallas isn't particularly known for computer science. It's more known for chemical engineering. It's more known for retail or even for petroleum engineering. So I would not rank it high when it comes to computer science. If we were talking about chemical or petroleum engineering, it would be a whole different thing. But for now, for computer science, I'm going to put it along with RMIT, along with ASU. It's going in C tier. Okay, then we have the University of Toronto, my alma mater. So I did my MBA from the University of Toronto, but the business school is actually located right next to the computer science department. So I kind of know what goes on in the computer science department. So if you plan to settle down in Canada, then I would suggest that there are only 3 schools worth going to when it comes to computer science. You have University of Toronto, you have UBC, and then you have Waterloo, right? So all 3 fantastic universities, but the University of Toronto does have one advantage over the other 2, its location. So for those of you who don't know, Toronto is actually home to Google Canada as well as Apple Canada. So these guys heavily recruit from the University of Toronto. Again, you have a variety of programs at the University of Toronto. You want to do maybe applied computing, you have an applied computing program. You want to do a research-based program, you have a specialized Masters of Computer Science with a thesis track, right? So a lot of variety, great professors, great placements, but again does not have the same reputation as an NUS, an MIT or a Stanford. So I think it actually goes into the A tier, not the S tier. But again, if you get a chance to study at the University of Toronto, you really should. All right, you'll thank me later for that. Next up, we have TU Berlin, the first German university. One of the TU9, a very good university overall, but not known for computer science. All right, just like other German universities, it's known more for engineering, and because of that, I would probably put it in the B tier. But I think I should punish this university a bit because I was going through their application process, and it seems that the university only selects students on the basis of their academics. I mean, that's very archaic, and who even does that anymore in 2025? You have universities taking a look at projects, internships, research work. TU Berlin does none of that. So if your GPA is below what they require, straight away your application is going to be thrown out. And I think it needs to be punished for that, which is why I'm putting it in the C tier, not in the B tier. Alright, so next up we have the Technical University of Munich. So the Technical University of Munich, just like TU Berlin, is one of the TU9 universities, is a very prestigious university to go to. It's better than TU Berlin when it comes to its computer science programs, but again, it's known for electrical engineering, it's known for biomedical engineering, it's known for mechanical engineering as well as instrumentation engineering. So the CS program isn't very strong, but students do get a lot of jobs, especially in startups. So I'm not going to put it in the C tier, but at the same time, I'm not going to put it in the A tier, because guess what? While most public universities are free for international students, TU Munich has actually started charging international students 6 to 7 lakh rupees per semester from last year. So I think we've got to punish the university for that. Not going to put it in the A tier, going to put it in the B tier. Okay, so next up we have Texas A&M, or as people call it, TAMU. So Texas A&M ranks very high. It ranks higher than ASU, it ranks higher than even Northeastern, but it's located in a semi-rural area. So it's not exactly easy to get jobs. It's located in College Station, which is kind of a small student town. So it's going to be very difficult for students to get jobs as a TAMU student. And therefore, I don't think we can put it any higher than the B tier. I would not put it in the C tier because it does have some good research going on. Faculty are great. Student quality is really up there. So I'm going to put it in the B tier. If it were located in a better location, I would probably put it in the A tier. But for now, it goes into the B tier. Also, keep in mind that this university has two different MS in CS programs. So it has a thesis track, which is research oriented, and it has a professional track in which there's no requirement for research. If you as a student don't have a strong research background and you plan to apply to TAMU, you shouldn't apply for the MS in CS program, you should be applying for the MCS program, which is the Professional Masters in Computer Science program. It's easier to get into, it gets you the same kinds of jobs. Right, so next we have the University of Amsterdam. Pretty good university, well known in the Netherlands. Students get jobs in startups, but again, Netherlands suffers from the same problems as Australia, has a very small population, not a lot going on when it comes to tech. Also not exactly inexpensive. You have German universities that are cheaper than the University of Amsterdam. So I don't even think it should be going in the B or C tier. I think it's going to go in the D tier. Again, remember guys, the only reason I'm putting this in the D tier is because of its location. Academically, it's a strong university, but it only makes sense for you if you're not super ambitious. If you don't see yourself becoming the CTO of some large company, by all means do go ahead to the University of Amsterdam. Otherwise, stay away from it. So next we have one of the Ivy Leagues. We have Columbia University, one of the 8 Ivy League universities in the United States, just like NYU, located in the heart of New York in Manhattan. Very good university. Had I been filming this video 2 or 3 weeks back, I would have placed it in the A tier. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put it in the B tier. Why is that? Because as you all know, Columbia has been having problems with the Trump administration, and the Trump administration essentially freezed a lot of their research funding. So in a deal to actually get access to that research funding, the Columbia University actually struck a deal with the Trump administration where they decided that they would reduce their dependence on international students. So what this potentially means is that they might be increasing fees for international students, and they might make it more difficult for international students to get in. I don't like that as an international student myself, so I'm probably biased over here. So I'm not going to be putting it in A tier, I'm going to be putting it in B tier because I feel that for international students, it's not the best place to go to in 2025. Alright. So next up, we have the University of Illinois at Chicago, not to be confused with the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign. Many students actually confuse UIC with UIUC. So UIUC is a different university, all right, has a different logo, very strong. I would have probably put it in the A tier had it been in this list. It's not. But UIC is a respectable university, not at the same level as a UIUC, not at the same level as a Georgia Tech or even a Monash. I think it goes in the C tier. If you plan to live your entire life in Midwestern United States, you want a job in Chicago or something like that, UIC is a perfectly good university to go to. But the brand name of this university is not going to carry you much further than Midwestern United States. And so therefore, I put it in the same tier as ASU. It goes down to C tier. Then we have Coventry University. So Coventry University is one of those British universities which probably accepts, a lot of Indian students. I believe it is one of the top 5 universities in the UK to accept international students when it comes to student volumes. So clearly it's very popular amongst international students. But according to me, its strength lies more in area like business and finance because it's located close to London. Not really known for computer science. And I have heard of stories where students have struggled to get jobs from Coventry universities when it comes to areas like business analytics, computer science, as well as data science. So I think it goes in D tier along with the University of Amsterdam. Okay, so next up we have the University of Washington. So I think this is actually a hidden gem. Not a lot of students talk about the University of Washington. People don't know about it. That's probably because the university doesn't market itself very well. It does have a branding problem. But trust me guys, this is actually a hidden gem. So this university is located in downtown Seattle. Its office is actually very close to the headquarters of Amazon and it's at some distance from Microsoft. But these two companies actually heavily recruit from the University of Washington. Boeing also actually has a lot of research contracts with the University of Washington, and I know that we're talking about computer science, not mechanical or aeronautical engineering, but hear me out. Nowadays, a lot of the planes that we sit in or fly in are actually operated. A lot of the planes are actually operated by software, and so Boeing heavily recruits the computer science students from the University of Washington to design software for their planes. How cool is that, right? So I think the University of Washington definitely suffers a branding problem, but it certainly doesn't suffer a placement issue. Also, because not many students apply to the University of Washington, it might be easier to get into compared to other universities which have the same stature when it comes to placements or when it comes to rankings. And it's particularly strong in areas like information systems and data science. I think it actually deserves a place in the same tier as Georgia Tech and Imperial. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put it in the A tier. Next up, we have the University of Pennsylvania, or as some people call it, Penn. Again, one of the Ivy League universities, has a strong brand reputation, strong brand recall all over the world. And so I think we can go ahead and we can put it in A tier. But it's not just the reputation that makes me put it in the A tier. I think we can also go ahead and put it in A tier because it has a variety of programs and it has strong placement. It has a separate computer science program, it has a separate applied computing program, it has a separate business analytics program, a separate data science program. Take your pick. All right, it has probably a program for whatever specialization of computer science that you want to do. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put it in the A tier along with the University of Toronto, IIT and other heavyweights. Next up, another popular university from the west coast of the United States, located in the heart of LA, we have the University of Southern California. This is not a public university, it's a private university, which means that it is more expensive than many universities on this list. All right. And of late, I've also heard from students that the university is suffering from some placement problems. So what's happened is, because it's a private university, it's ended up accepting more students than it can probably handle to increase its revenue, because it gets no federal or no state funding. But the infrastructure of the university and the number of faculty as well as career services team members that it has not kept pace. So of late, in the last 2 years, I've heard of a few problems with placements and with academics in USC, which is why I will not put it in A tier. I will probably put it in B tier, right? But if it does solve its placement problem, if it does bring its infrastructure up to scratch, I will probably put it in A tier in the coming years. And then the last university that we have is the University of Texas at Austin, UT Austin. This is another hidden gem, just like the University of Washington. It's located down south in Austin, which is the capital of Texas. So Austin is a beautiful city. Also, Austin is the city where a lot of tech startups are actually relocating. So a lot of the companies that have actually located in California are now opening their second headquarters, or probably even shifting their main headquarters to Austin. A lot of companies such as Tesla, SpaceX, I think even Oracle are moving their headquarters to Texas. So there's going to be a lot of jobs when it comes to computer science, AI, cybersecurity, that sort of thing in Texas. Ranking wise, it ranks in the same tier as Carnegie Mellon, but it costs half as much. And so I think because of all these reasons, we've got to put it in the A tier. All right. So I think we've covered all the universities that my team had listed. I know that some of these takes are controversial. If you think some of these takes are controversial, if you do not agree with some of the tiers, please let me know in the comments. If there's a university that you would like me to rank in this tier but was not there in this list, again, put it down in the comments. And please do click on the bell icon and subscribe to this channel. I'll see you in the next one.